And again, not sort of strictly relevant, but just to show the wider impact of people changing their shopping habits, is we've seen both in health and beauty, where we've seen a steady increase, and in textiles. So where people are making that choice for food, they're also then thinking about where their beauty products are coming, where their clothes are coming from. Again, it's relatively a tiny market compared to the whole thing, but encouraging. So that was sort of the market bit, and effectively we're pretty confident in the demand increasing. What we're really nervous about is that we don't have the supply to match it at the moment. So where you see that increase in demand, we're still seeing pretty steady, if not slightly declining, land area for production. So at the moment that's all going to be met by imports. And I'm guessing it'll be a similar story here, where the land isn't increasing, but presumably people are still wanting to buy organic. Demand in other countries around the world is bigger. The growth in organics is even bigger than the UK. Denmark is growing at 60%. That's something crazy. America's growing at 20%. China's growing at 20%. So everybody's fighting over a relatively small organic market, and because of the 2-year conversion period, you can't just suddenly turn on a tap and there's a load of organic produce. So we're concerned about matching the supply to demand, but we're pretty confident and optimistic about the demand at the moment. So, in terms of support, the government support is mainly through Countryside Stewardship Scheme. It's an ongoing trend to move away from a production subsidy towards a public goods subsidy, which is something that the Soil Association would encourage, because generally organic farming delivers on public goods. In the UK, they've confirmed another 2 years of the current organic system, Countryside Stewardship system, simply because they knew that they wouldn't be able to get something new in place before Brexit. We don't know what's going to happen with Brexit. It's almost certain that subsidies will be reduced. There are some people like our dear friend Owen Patterson who would like to see it all scrapped entirely, which in principle is fine, but except you're then competing against everyone else in Europe that you're supplying to who's getting those subsidies. But it will almost certainly be a reduced subsidy from what it is at the moment, and it will almost certainly be very focused on delivering public goods. And beyond that, we actually have no idea at the moment. I think similar to here, our government has no interest in food security or self-sufficiency. They seem to have no plan or kind of inkling that it might be important. What they're really keen on is exporting organic food, because it's seen as kind of poster boy for exports. It's all very lovely, people think wonderful, people trust UK standards, we obey the rules, and so therefore you can really trust UK organics. So there's a lot of interest in taking organic food and exporting it, not that much interest in replacing imports. So it's kind of, interesting, but that's sort of roughly where we are at the moment. And we're working really hard to try and get a food strategy that reflects a wide array of opinions, and Helen Browning is working on a commission idea at the moment to get a commission together that we can actually try and influence government, but can't say we're that hopeful. But at the moment, we still have the Countryside Stewardship Scheme, and there is a single farm payment element within that, so you get a certain amount of money per acre, regardless of what you do, as long as you don't sort of mess up your cross compliances. And it's around, I'm sure you know things like restoring wildlife habitats, managing floods, some of the things that a good organic farmer will be doing anyway. It's competitive, so there's no guarantee, but there are certain elements within the Countryside Stewardship Scheme that you get points for being organic, that is sort of automatic that you'd be doing anyway for your certification. So there's a benefit to being organic that you can help get that payment. But again, I'm not at all an expert on how the Countryside Stewardship Scheme works, so I can take questions, but I'm not necessarily guaranteed to know the details. And then on a wider basis, there are various organisations that support organic farming. And I haven't mentioned the range of certifying bodies, because we're not the only certifying body. I did think it was interesting, actually, in the rural strategy paper, organic farmers and growers were listed, but not the Soil Association. So we're the only, along with Biodynamic Association, we're the only organisation that is a charity and does other work apart from certification. The others are purely certification businesses, and they do a great job. So I'm not, I'm not knocking them, but these are the ones that sort of offer a bit more. So the Soil Association, we run events, we have sort of various technical support through fact sheets, helpline, that sort of thing. We have marketing material for our licensees. We've got a really good range of marketing material that we'll send you for free if you're a licensee. We've got a website, we've got a magazine, we've got newsletters, that sort of stuff. And then we also work on specifically funded projects. So there's a couple at the moment. One is the Innovative Farmers Project, which is around on-farm research and helping farmers to do trials on farms. And if any of you want to get involved in that, that's great. I can talk more about that if you want. And the other one is AHDB funded, so levy body funded Great Soils project, so looking at soils. And that's working, well, both of those projects are working with organic and non-organic farmers to improve practice. There's the Organic Research Centre, who again I'm sure most of you are aware of. A lot of really good research. They also run some events. They've got the agroecology website, which if you haven't come across it is worth a visit. Some really good resources on that. And then they also produce the Organic Farm Management Handbook. It's getting warm, isn't it? You were there, yeah. The Organic Growers Alliance, which is a really great organisation, aimed at small and medium scale organic growers, certified and non-certified. They do a fantastic magazine, and they have a really good forum on the website with sort of lots of questions and answers. So if you are a grower, I would definitely recommend joining them. And then there's Land Workers Alliance, which is more of a political organisation, and they do also run some events and practical stuff. And they are sort of the radical, protecting the peasants. They're great, and they say stuff that the Soil Association might have said 60 years ago, but we're a bit establishment now, so we have a slightly different role. I was also asked just to talk about marketing and promotion by farmer cooperatives, and again, there's not much happens in the UK. We're not very good at cooperating, so I sort of struggled to come up with many examples. The South Devon organic producers are a group of growers who supply into Riverford, and they were the original group that supplied into Riverford when they started up. They still run as a co-op. They don't actually do that much marketing and promotion themselves because Riverford do all of that. But they do still work as a cooperative, and it's quite an interesting group, and they run quite well. The other is ONSCO, which is the organic milk suppliers co-op, who are the main buyer of organic milk in the UK, and do a lot of promotion work, and they've got a good website. And then there's Organic Arable, which again is a group of farmers that buy and market arable crops. So yeah, I don't know how helpful that is, but it's worth it. If you're interested in any of those areas, I can find out more information. So, on to the main bit. So James has very kindly, which I should have done, handed round some leases for the CSA Network UK, which I'm on the board of as well. And there's a good website with various resources. So CSA, Community Supported Agriculture. In a traditional model, I'm the farmer. I spend all my money at the beginning of the year buying seed and some new kit and paying someone to plough the field and all the rest of it. So I've got a lot of expenditure, take a lot of risk at the beginning of the season. If I'm lucky and everything goes my way, even the money I'm spending on irrigation and weeding, all of that stuff, I can sell the crop. And if I'm really lucky and I get a lot of the crop and the prices aren't too bad, I might even make a profit. And in the old days, when food was valued a bit higher, you made enough in the good years that actually, even if you had a year or two where crops failed or you didn't sell it, you could survive, and then you'd still be there in 2 or 3 years' time. Food prices are not what they were. The incidence of kind of extreme weather events, I think they're called, is getting higher. So where 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you might have had 1 year in 10 would be a really bad year. Now it might be 1 year in 4, it might be 1 year in 5. So it's getting harder and harder to survive as a business and make the investment in the business that you need. Similarly, I'm a customer, in the traditional model, I go to the shop, I go to the market, and I hope that somebody's got some food to sell, because I've got some money, and if I'm lucky, there's some food to buy and I can eat. Worst comes to worst, actually, there might be a food shortage. So I don't take any of the risk initially, but I'm at the mercy then of hoping that there's some food. So in the CSA model, the idea really is that risk and that reward from food production is shared a bit more evenly. And I mean, there's arguments and discussion about exactly what a CSA is, but in its essence, it's where the producer and the consumer, the eater, the customer, whatever you want to call them, share some of that risk and then share the reward. And we're not quite sure how many there are, because they're sort of spreading out and disappearing, as businesses do. We think there's 100 or more. Interestingly, in the States there are more than 3,000, and I think in France there's a couple of thousand as well. So there are other countries where they're more established. And often that's because they've got a very prescribed model of what a CSA is, whereas in the UK they're very diverse. There's no really one set model, and that might make it harder to replicate or harder for people to understand exactly what it is. There's a wide range for both farmers and the consumers. So for a farmer, it gives you a much more stable and committed consumer base, customer base, effectively. So these are people that are really bought into you. They might have paid you a membership fee. They might have committed sort of up front to 3 months or 6 months of supply. So they're really, they really want you to survive. In theory, it gives you a higher return and fairer return for your produce if the agreement works and your budget works and you get it all right. It gives you an increased involvement in your community if that's something you want. Not all farmers do. It can help with times of crisis, whether that's labour crisis or financial crisis. So I was involved in setting up a community farm near Bristol, and year 3 or 4, 2012, we had that awful wet season, and we had no crops, and we'd spent a load of money, and we were going to go under, and we went out to our members and said, look, we're in trouble, and suddenly we had £15,000 of donations from our members who just wanted us to succeed. So there's that element of support, and yes, the financial support was important, but almost that kind of mental support. Oh my God, actually, people really want us to succeed here was really important as well. And from the customer's point of view, you've got fresh food from someone that you trust, someone that you know. You go to the farm, whether you're working on the farm occasionally, as some of the models have, or whether you just visited to pick up the food. You've got that really close connection. We saw right at the beginning that kind of desire to connect with food or with the farm, and sometimes it is just that very basic wanting to have a face for where your food comes from and to be able to talk to them and go out and dig carrots with them. And actually a lot of people want to learn how to grow food as well, and that's one of the big motivations we saw with the community farm. Admittedly, we were tapping into a lot of people in Bristol, so there's quite an urban population of sort of very switched on. It's quite a green city, quite a environmental city, but they didn't have any growing skills. But they really wanted to learn, and so actually they came out and they did volunteers day, so they were learning new skills as well as getting their food supply. So there's a lot of benefits on both sides. A few nice pictures to keep you interested. So we'll come on to that, because I'm going to go through a couple of case studies looking at different models.